Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the Layla Steele case, and it's not a child case per se, it's a domestic violence case, but the court system was involved, and I completely feel like they dropped the ball here, and it's on their hands that this woman is dead. Thank God the little boy, like he even say wasn't hurt, he was hurt, but he lives, so let's talk about it. Okay, this story is coming out of Houston, and this was last Thursday. I'm going to read you guys this article, and then we're going to talk about it. A woman is dead and a child was injured after a shooting at a West Houston apartment complex. Houston police said the shooting happened around 10:30 a.m. Thursday at the Apex at Royal Oaks apartment complex on West Park Drive near West Drive, authorities said. Police said they responded to a shooting at the location, and when they arrived, they found a woman who'd been shot 4 times and was in critical condition. Family has identified the mother and son as Layla Steele and Zeus. Steele's family said Zeus' first birthday was Thursday, the same day as the shooting. Emergency responders performed CPR on the woman while they worked to transport her to a hospital, authorities said. Through CPR, they were able to get the woman's pulse back, but police said she eventually succumbed to her injuries. Authorities said the woman was holding a 1-year-old boy at the time of the shooting. He was shot in the ankle but is in stable condition and expected to survive. Police said he is expected to undergo surgery on Friday. Witnesses told authorities they heard an argument happening in the parking lot prior to the incident. Authorities believe the woman was a victim of domestic violence. Investigators said they believe the suspect is Zacchaeus Rashad Gaston, 27, the estranged boyfriend of Steele and father of the 1-year-old child. He is out on 7 felony bonds and is wearing an ankle monitor, police said. The man fled the scene on foot. Police are currently working to locate him. Gaston is charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Gaston, or in this case, is urged to contact the Houston Police Department Homicide Division at 713-308-3600 or Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. With the suspect being out on bond for 7 major felonies, this could have been avoided. Assistant Chief Patricia Canto with the Houston Police Department said, "It's really sad because that child's going to grow up without a mother, and the fact that he's going to grow up knowing he was there." Neighbor Ann Mick said, "That blows my mind. 7? What happened to 3 strikes and you're out? You're gone. But 7? The victim's sister told KPRC2 the justice system failed when the suspect was let out of jail. Family members of the victim identified him as Zacchaeus Gaston. Court documents seem to match up. Steele had a restraining order against Gaston, which was later dismissed. "I'm sad, but I'm angry. I'm more angry than I am sad," said Jazz Colibly, the victim's sister. "The hardest part is that my sister died and it could have been prevented." Andy Cahan with the Crime Stoppers of Houston said Steele is now among 124 Harris County victims murdered by defendants released on multiple felony bonds. Cahan said 85 of those homicides happened between 2020 and 2021. "We have no issue with someone getting out on bond, but what we're seeing is that there are repeatedly being released who are repeatedly getting arrested time and time again," the victim's advocate said. Gaston's criminal history includes aggravated assault, indecent exposure to a child, evading arrest, felony possession of a weapon, violating a protective order, and more, all within the last 10 years. Gaston was repeatedly granted bond in Harris County's 351st District Court under Judge Natalia Cornelio. Trial attorney James Powell was that court's former judge until he lost re-election in 2020. Some cases are apparent. If you have someone who, as I mentioned, clearly cannot perform well in society and keeps coming back with multiple cases, it's time to shut the door, Powell said. Powell said judges have to find the balance between public safety and a defendant's rights. "They're in a very tough position," said the trial attorney. "It's somewhat of a lose-lose situation because regardless of what happens, somebody's going to be unhappy. You don't want to be in a position where someone loses their life. That's no good for anybody." Cahan said the number of victims in Harris County will continue to grow until bond reform is taken up on a state level. "This is why we desperately need legislation. It's to give judges discretion. For whatever reason, their perspective is they have to release defendants back on bond," Cahan said. He said he plans to be in Austin sharing Steele's heartbreaking story when that happens during the legislature's special session on July 8th. Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. Gaston remains on the run. So, let me just tell you, the judge was asked for a comment, and she said this was an ongoing investigation, so she wasn't going to comment. That woman needs to be taken off the bench for this. Today, they're taking up the bond reform in a special session. I'm going to show you that clip here in a minute. We'll see what they do. I have a feeling it'll probably pass, and they'll name it something like Layla's Law or whatever to try to appease the family. In my opinion, this family should absolutely sue and be compensated for this mess, because 3 months ago she filed for a protective order against this man, and the judge dismissed it 3 months before this happened. So the felony he's on bond for violating a protective order was against somebody else. Tell me why a man in an ankle monitor, why was he on an ankle monitor? If he is already in trouble for violating parole, being caught with a weapon while he's on parole, and is violating a protective order, why do you think putting a piece of plastic on his ankle is going to keep him away from people if the piece of paper didn't work? Y'all, we've got to use some common sense. This is ridiculous, but I hope whoever, when this gets investigated, I hope whoever let this happen, and at this point it is let it happen, is held accountable for this. This is ridiculous. I think the family should absolutely sue, because there should be a wrongful death suit in this, in my opinion. It's ridiculous. This man could easily have killed this little boy. He shot the boy's mother 4 times while she was holding him. He could probably care less if that baby had died. It's lucky that the boy wasn't hurt worse than he was. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. This kind of stuff makes me so mad, guys, you know. Alright, I'm going to play the news reports, and then at the end I'm going to play the birthday party that they held for this little boy.
In a murder investigation, a man accused of shooting the mother of his child and injuring that 1-year-old baby in the process has now been identified as Zacchaeus Gaston. As you can see from these mugshots right here behind me, he has a long criminal history, and he is still on the run tonight. And now we're learning new information about the ankle monitor that he was wearing and why it wasn't being monitored at the time of that shooting. KPRC2's Taisha Walker is live in West Houston now, where that suspect was last seen. Taisha?
Chris, we now know that Zacchaeus stopped here at this Home Depot. This is where his ankle monitor was found, cut off last Thursday. He now remains on the run and untraceable. Zacchaeus Gaston has been on the run for 6 days. The 27-year-old is wanted for murdering Layla Steele, his son's mother. Steele died shielding their 1-year-old last Thursday at a West Houston apartment complex.
Everybody should be held accountable.
The judge.
Yes, the judge especially.
Steele's mother, Shirley, blames Harris County because Gaston was out on bond with 7 active felony charges. His criminal history is long in Harris County, plus Gaston has a theft and evading arrest charge in Fort Bend County.
Because he's no longer wearing the device, however, we can't locate the defendant.
Spurgeon Kennedy is with Harris County Pretrial Services, the agency that monitored Gaston's GPS device up until last week. Gaston was ordered to wear an ankle monitor last December, a condition of one of his bonds. Harris County's 351st District Court Judge, Natalia Cornelio, had granted Gaston several in the 7 months she's been on the bench. Kennedy says Gaston had been compliant up until recently with his GPS device, until he failed to charge the battery once. Kennedy says he alerted the judge on June 23rd, but on June 28th, the case was dropped. He says his agency stopped monitoring Gaston that day, but had not retrieved the ankle monitor.
The last notice that we had from the contractor is that the device had been tampered with or removed.
Kennedy says the monitoring company pinged it to this Westheimer Home Depot hours after Steele was murdered and less than 5 miles away. Kennedy says the ankle monitor was cut off and left behind. I did try reaching out to Judge Cornelio for comment and was told that she is not going to comment, citing that this is still an open case. Reporting live in West Houston, Taisha Walker, KPRC 2 News.
These are the many faces of Zacchaeus Gaston, a 27-year-old whose criminal record is a decade long. The Harris County DA's office describes him as a true habitual offender. Harris County District Court records show Gaston's currently facing 7 different charges for crimes like assault, evading arrest, failing to register as a sex offender, and a felon in possession of a weapon. Prosecutors have repeatedly asked the courts to refuse bail, but even after reviewing public safety assessments and all of the pending felony cases, magistrates continue to set bail. In some cases, records show it's the same magistrate. Then on Thursday,
with the suspect being out on bond for 7 major felonies, this could have been prevented.
Layla Steele was shot 4 times while she was carrying her son. Police say baby Zeus was shot once in his leg during an argument between Layla and Zeus's father, Zacchaeus Gaston. Layla died at a hospital.
We was on the phone with them when they got into it, and she called for my mama and the phone just hung up.
Court documents show the steps prosecutors took to try and protect Layla. They asked for a protective order and an ankle monitor that would include geofencing to prevent Gaston from going near Layla's apartment. And even though the court acknowledges Gaston's past and threats he made to Layla, a magistrate still set bail at $30,000. In April, the Harris County DA petitioned to have Gaston's bond revoked because he continued to harass Layla. A court decision is still pending. The motion was filed April 5th, nearly 3 months before Layla Steele was killed.
There's no way that should have slipped where 7 felony bonds a person was out. And I feel like my sister's blood is on their hands.
If you know where Zacchaeus Gaston is, call police. He's now facing a murder charge in addition to several other crimes. Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
Good morning. Many people and lawmakers as well say bail reform is more important here in Harris County and, of course, statewide. Here we go, 3-2-1. The special session in Austin begins today, and bail reform is first on the agenda. The most recent bill passed the Senate in regular session, but never got a vote in the House.
It is inconceivable, reprehensible for a judge to give someone repeated bond to a violent offender.
It would eliminate felony PR bonds for violent offenders and create what's called a public safety report system. That system gives judges every defendant's criminal history and bond history. State lawmakers from both parties agree the current bail system must change.
Look, America is the land of second chances, but not everybody should get a third, fourth, and a fifth chance. And that's what happens under the law now.
Crime Stoppers of Houston says 124 Harris County residents have been murdered in recent years, most of them since 2020, by defendants who'd been released on multiple felony bonds and bond forfeiture.
If we get legislation passed, it would also send a message and a mandate to the judiciary that everyone's watching right now. And we're not going to allow business as usual because it's obviously had a detrimental effect on public safety.
So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This one made me mad. It's not necessarily a kid case, but this could have been prevented. And he did shoot the little boy, for crying out loud. So these people need to be held responsible. I don't care who they are. The guy is still on the loose, by the way. So I want to end this on a better note. So I'm going to end it with a clip that they aired on the news for the little boy's birthday and how they celebrated Layla. So all of my stuff's down in the description box. I have a Patreon. There's some fun stuff going on over there. Go check that out if you're interested. I share a Discord server with A1. If you don't know who A1 is, I don't know how, but her links are down in the description box too. I'm like a couple of dozen away from 1,000 subscribers, which was my big goal, and so we're almost there. I'm going to do a giveaway with that, so watch for that video coming up really soon, and thank you for subscribing and being part of my little neighborhood over here. So anyway, like, share, subscribe, ring the little bell so you get notification, because I'll get fired up about these kid cases every day, and if you want to hear more about that, this is the place to be. So until next time, guys, bye. Check out the birthday party.
Happy birthday to It was a birthday celebration unlike most.
We're just trying to celebrate his first birthday because his mom already had it planned.
Baby Zeus, now in a cast, turned 1 Thursday. The very same day, he was shot in the ankle while in his mother's arms. His mother, Layla Steele, died protecting him, something his Aunt Jasmine and Grandma Shirley Steele will one day explain to him.
She died protecting him. She covered him. She got on top of him to shelter him.
And he always going to know that. We always going to remind him, you know, when we celebrate his birthday, we celebrate his mom.
True to their word.
You talking?
Hey, baby boy.
You talking to the people?
The birthday festivities were put on hold. Family and friends directing their attention to the skies.